Hi, I'm Tom Savini, and you're watching Without Your Head. But why?
It's Nasty Neil, the station of decapitation without your head at Buffalo Dreams Fantastic Film Festival. After 2 years, I can remember the very long
That's
name.
a mouthful. It was good.
It is, yeah. And well, we're not there right now. We're actually at Salvatore's Garden Place, I believe. We'll give them a shout out since they let us use the area.
Right on.
Right, and Chris Ethridge is here from Horror Pack, and he has a movie here this weekend, Haven's End.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which I just watched this morning.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Yeah. And not just because you're here.
Right. That's a loaded question, right? No,
Yeah.
I hated it. I hated every minute of it.
Some people have noticed that. I'll say, and not just because you're here.
Yeah.
Which I probably shouldn't give away because then people could look. Yeah, they could listen. And, he really didn't like that. He didn't say just because you're here.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's is it the premiere tonight or
no? We premiered at Nightmares Film Festival last October.
Yeah.
So it's our New York premiere though.
Okay, cool. So what was it like the first time you do watch it with an audience?
It was great. It's always great. You know, because our movie, generally speaking, it's got some good laughs right up till the midpoint.
Yeah.
And then it kind of gets a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
And you can hear the audience quiet. You know, which is really cool.
Yeah. I always like that though, because then it gets you to like the characters. So when things happen, then it means something.
Right, absolutely. Hopefully that's your goal, right? Unless it's a character you're not supposed to like.
Right.
So,
Then you're happy that something happens.
Right, exactly.
As long as it's not like too much of a contrast. If it's like a sitcom or something, and then everyone starts getting killed, or maybe I'd like that. I don't know. Yeah. Well, give people an idea, I guess, if they're not at a festival.
Right. So Haven's End is a kind of a I don't want to call it a post-apocalyptic thriller. It's more like in the middle of the apocalypse.
Right. The beginning of?
The beginning of, right, yeah. So you know, cities across the country and the world really start blowing up, like explosions and so our core group of people, they decide to get out of the city. They're in Atlanta. They decide to get out of the city and head to rural Georgia to some family land that they have. And they run into other family members there that they weren't expecting. And then strange things start happening in the woods. You start seeing lights and other oddities.
That gave me an idea when you said it's not post-apocalyptic.
Right.
For anyone out there who wants to do this, a short that's pre-apocalyptic, but just nothing happens.
Right.
And so it's like, well, it happens at some point. This is before all that happens.
Nice.
But,
yeah.
Sorry to be silly in your interview.
No worries.
Okay.
No worries.
But I always like this kind of story because it's like the breakdown of society, what happens, and
And you know, and they have like a ham radio, and they're and they're listening, trying to figure out what's going on in the greater outside world while they're in this kind of like sort of secluded area.
There was stuff in it too I liked because there's a line, not to give away the movie, but like I don't know the exact line, but it's basically I wanted to do harm to you even before the lights told me to do so. Because I always like that because it's almost it kind of feeds off the inherent evil or bad.
Yeah, right, and the realities of existing complicated relationships, right? Which is a lot of what the thematic stuff in that movie is about.
And if we live in a society, we can't pursue some of the darker things.
Right, exactly.
But in this world, you can.
At that point, for sure.
So how about casting the movie, the people you worked with before?
So I made a film called Attack of the Morningside Monster a few years back. Kat Tabor, who is the lead in this movie, she plays the voice of Amidala in the Clone Wars cartoon series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's her big claim to fame.
Yeah.
She's done a lot of other stuff. But that's the one
that would be Haven's End, they'll say.
Yeah, now would be Haven's End. Yeah. So she had a smaller role in Morningside Monsters where I met her.
Yeah.
And then Rob Pralgo, who plays Harry in this movie, was the lead in that movie. So he's a smaller role in this one. So they kind of traded places. But they both worked with him before. Everyone else in the main cast, not like the voice actors and TV actors, and were either auditions for the Derek and Kevin. And then Hannah Fierman, who is, a lot of people know her from VHS. She's the succubus in the first VHS movie, and Siren, which was the feature.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
She's local to Atlanta, and I was a big fan, and so I just reached out to her agent and said, "Hey, is she interested?"
Yeah.
And we met and became friends, and she came out and did a great job.
Yeah.
And then Megan Hayes, who played Jessie, she was recommended highly by Kat and several other people, but and so I talked to her. We had an hour conversation. I'm like, that's
cool. Yeah. So you didn't write the movie.
No.
The person who wrote it, I assume you work with.
Yes. So Michael Harper wrote the film. He produced Morningside, but did not write it. So I have a kind of a partnership with Michael Harper and Stacey Palmer. Okay. They produced my films.
Yeah.
And Stacey wrote the last one. Michael wrote this one. And then they both produced.
Yeah.
Both movies.
Yeah. So, like, how did that come about? Did he have the script, and he's like, "Would you read this?"
This was brought to us as a concept. Saying, "Hey, we've got some elements in place, got a little bit of money. What can you guys do with it?"
Yeah.
And and so I went to Michael and said, "Pitch me something," and he came back and pitched that like 2 days later, and we basically shot his pitch, give or take. Obviously, there's adjustments as you write the actual script.
Yeah.
And we went down a couple of roads in development where we were like, no, let's just go back to what we originally had talked about. That works better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fast. I think he pitched it in May of 2016, and we were shooting in December.
Yeah.
So it was,
Yeah. And in the movie, to show like when people are, I won't say possessed, but taking over, whatever. You have some stuff with the eyes.
Yeah, sure.
Which it looks very cool. Almost looks like outer space.
Right. It looks like stars in the eyes.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
thing. Yeah. Stacey Palmer did those VFX. She in addition to producing, she did all the VFX in the film.
Yeah. Is that done with contacts, or is it done after?
That's digital.
Oh wow! Because it looks really good.
Right.
It fits in.
She's really good. She did the explosions at the beginning. She did I'll call it the trailer scene, the trailer one shot.
Yeah.
Like all that. So.
Yeah. And where did you film it?
Appling, Georgia, which is right outside of Augusta. We shot most of it there, and then a few days in Atlanta.
Yeah.
For some of that other stuff.
Yeah. It's always good to have a setting in the woods, because everyone has a woods, and you don't have to build the woods.
And that's the nice thing about something like that is we shot on a big multi-acre, plot of land.
Yeah.
So you can, walk 200 yards this direction, and it looks different. And so now we're in a different place.
You're not walking around a circle.
Yeah. When you do these indies, and I know you talk to a lot of indie filmmakers.
Sure.
It's low budget. You got to move fast.
Yeah.
And that's how you can at least help it along. Is to have a lot of different looking places in one centralized area.
Speaking of indie filmmakers, how did you become an indie film? Why was this something you wanted to do?
Oh, that's such a great question. I've been doing it for almost 20 years now, 18 years. I started in 2001, mostly shorts, up until a certain point. But I graduated college and moved to Athens, Georgia, and didn't know anyone, and had a whole summer there. I was having a friend who was going to come join me, but not till the fall. The whole summer I didn't know anybody. I was kind of just there by myself, so I started watching a lot of indie films. Was
this something you watched before, or more so?
Not so much, no. I mean, a little, but not a lot until, like Kevin Smith and things like that, but not anything more involved in that. And then, at some point I was like, this seems like something you could do if you... And
that area has a lot of independent filmmakers in it.
Athens and Atlanta. Particularly, the studio industry has grown up a lot.
In the last few, since The Walking Dead.
Some tax credits. Exactly. But there's so, and I generally speaking, when you have more filmmakers, even professional working filmmakers, for studio work in the area, like they all want to do their own things too.
Right.
So that helps kind of grow that base of
then everyone you meet somebody who does something, and I'll do something. I'll do this on your movie. You do this on mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever,
exactly. It's quid pro quo, and it's awesome. Like it's wonderful to have that that talent and availability.
Yeah. Were you always like into horror?
My first rated R film was Dream Warriors, Elm Street 3.
Okay, nice.
First rated R film in the theater was Child's Play 3. Okay. I definitely have always had that sort of interest. I mean, I'm a big fan of multi-genre, as you can. Haven's Inn is
right.
not.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie. Yeah,
right. It's.
I guess
it's got.
I'm
elements.
not always worried about genre personally.
Right.
Sometimes I think I get kind of annoyed if people fight over is it aliens not horror? It's sci-fi. And it's why does it even matter? I don't know.
I can tell you stories horror pack. We've said
right. Yeah, I'm sure.
We said 4 movies a month. We're hitting our 4-year anniversary next year. And
that's cool.
You would not believe people that's not a horror film. Are you sure? I think it probably is.
Yeah, unless you're sending like a romantic comedy or something, it's like
right, exactly.
It's all
exactly right.
Yeah.
So I agree. It's there's a lot of blurring of the lines when you're dealing with thriller and horror and stuff like that. But I love that in sci-fi and action. Yeah. We were up for best action film or outstanding action film here. And I was so happy about that because I was like. That's great because it's not an action film, but there are some action scenes, that I'm really proud of. The one-sided gunfight where you don't see the bad guys basically is an indie film way of handling that scenario, right? Instead of trying to do coverage for two sides, we just said, all right, we're going to show it from our protagonist's point of view. And
is that I could see how it could be fun or frustrating to kind of figure out how to do something like you don't have the money to do, figure out problem solving.
I think it's part of it. I mean, for me, it's certainly enjoyable. I get it. I get that it's frustrating.
When I interviewed Tom Savini, he said that's his favorite part of his career was when you just had to figure things out.
Yeah, right. That's my favorite. My favorite Fincher quote is, directing is when you need to get 5 shots, the sun's going down, you've got time for 2.
Right.
I do think that's I mean, in the moment, sometimes it can be anxious, anxiety-inducing, right?
Yeah.
But I do think it is absolutely a really
it tests your creativity, how am I going to get this?
It's an important part of the process, I think.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy it.
Yeah. Along those lines, do you edit your own stuff?
Yes and no. So what I normally in the past, Stacy and I have worked on. We kind of joint edit. Yeah. This time I wanted Stacy to focus on the VFX because there was a lot of them. So I hired an editor who's a director, Luce Simone. Do you know? Have you done?
Oh yeah, 3, right? I've had her on the show. Yeah, I had the whole cast.
I was going to say I thought that. So she's also a friend. She's in LA.
We saw her name actually at the beginning when we were watching it.
So she's in LA now, but she was in Atlanta for a long time. And so she did the first pass, and then 80% of the movie is her work, And then I just went back and did basically a polished pass. I changed a couple of scenes where I was like, I bet it would work a little bit better if we did it this way, and then just tightened, and that's it. Yeah. So
Well, I was asking that because when you're talking about figuring out ways to. In my mind, it would be hard to edit that yourself because you'd have memories of making this, and it'd be like, well, I can't cut this because it was so cool filming it, or it was hard to do.
I used to. I think as I've been doing this for a while.
After you do it for a while,
I've kind of gotten over that. Yeah, it's pretty rare that I'll go, oh, I must have this shot. I will say on this movie, there's a scene closer to the end of the movie where the camera circles around the picnic table while they're
which is a really great scene.
And it was a one shot.
Oh yeah,
and we didn't quite get a good enough take. And I was holding out, and finally Michael was like, you need to at least cut it. You need to cut it from multiple takes and see what it looks like, and then decide. And I was like, all right, I'll do that. And I cut it, and of course it was better. So sometimes, but that's why you have people like Michael and Stacy who, they will, if I'm doing something and they're like, I don't know, I tend to listen to them. At least give it more than just cursory thought, you know. And so I gave it a try, and it was the right choice.
As you make more stuff, does it get easier or?
Some in some ways, sure. In some ways it does, but also. Hopefully, if you're doing it right, you keep challenging yourself, right?
Like you want to do, same thing.
Yeah, like we made this movie in 10 days.
Yeah,
that was not. We should not have been able to do that. Although
the guy last night said like 3 days.
3 days. Yeah, and I've known a couple of filmmakers who've done that. They load up and do a long weekend, and it's just nonstop. He structured it right to do that. He absolutely structured it where there's 2 actors over here at one point, and they're not. That was really smart. and that was a really good movie. I really enjoyed Lake Artifact.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know that I would want to do that. It's a little.
It
was a lot of handheld too.
Yeah, and he even said it wasn't a good idea. So
yeah, he's like it may fail. Oh yeah. It was a lot of handheld too, which is usually how you have to do that. And I like trying to use traditional filmmaking tools where I can. You know, we had cranes, we had the movie or the Ronin. You know, we had a lot of tripod shots.
Now think about there's something that came up in that Q&A about changing the name so it has an A at the beginning.
Yeah, sure.
Which isn't something I ever thought about.
Oh, I've got my story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sure. So, in fact, Gravitas, same company, right? So, Gravitas asked him to change his last film.
Yeah.
It was called The Tomorrow People. Does that sound right?
No, but
Okay.
something like that.
Well, he
But
changed it to
I think it was definitely Tomorrow something.
Tomorrow something, or Paradox or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Tomorrow Paradox. I think
Maybe,
is right,
yeah, okay. And then they asked him to change it to Altered Hours.
Yeah.
And we had The Morningside Monster was our film, and they asked me to put an A in front of it. So Attack of the Morningside Monster actually came
I see.
from Gravitas saying throw an A in there. And it's one of those things where it's really frustrating, but they're not 100% wrong. Like if you're trying to sell your movie,
right,
and you get down to Z, right? Like if people are scrolling, oh, I'm just going to do a random film tonight.
Yeah, I've done it myself when I go to Redbox.
Right?
I mean, at first I think, well, it's silly, but then I'm thinking, well, I guess there is a point to it.
So start from the end next time. Go Z.
There you go.
Go Z backwards and see if you find something interesting that you might not normally see.
So my advice out there, someone, or maybe I should keep this: make Aardvark the movie.
Make Aardvark
but
the movie.
A giant mutant Aardvark, and double A's are going to be right at the top.
That's right. That's right.
I don't. You have to have a movie besides that, I guess. But
yeah, right, right. Yeah, the name is a starting point.
right. It should be the ending point.
Fair.
I don't know what I was gonna. Now I'm just thinking about Aardvark.
Right.
Yeah. So how about Horror Pack? How did that come about?
So my partner Diego Kirsch and I, we were acquaintances. He's been in Athens for a long time, and he had come and helped out on Morningside Monster. But we both had kind of a business. We both have a sort of business background as well as creative, and then we just sat down one day and said, "Hey, let's figure out if there's any way we can work together." And we were just spitballing stuff, and subscription boxes were really becoming. That was back
I like them myself.
Yeah, they're still great.
But a lot
they
of them have faded out.
Yeah, sure. It's hard. It's a very complicated business to make it work successfully and to scale, because the problem is you can scale up to we've got. This is hypothetical, but this is kind of what sort of have happened at Horror Block and some of the others.
That was my favorite one.
Right. And they scaled up and, they've got 20,000 customers this month. And they need to buy 20,000 products this month and next month. And then, 15,000 people canceled, and all of a sudden they've got 20,000 items, right? And only 5,000 customers that month. And it jumps back and forth a lot. We've seen that. Like,
It probably depends, like if you have something unique, then a lot of people subscribe and maybe only do it for the month.
Right. Yeah, when we've seen that too. With our limited editions, if sometimes we'll announce them ahead of time if it's a more like a title we think a lot of people will like, and we don't do that all the time because we try to be as much mystery as possible. But and we'll see people subscribe just for that month. And we've been lucky and fortunate enough to have been able to manage the amount of inventory, but the companies that have gone under. And even Loot Crate just filed for bankruptcy, so they could
that was a huge one.
And it's because managing that inventory is so hard when you don't know how many customers you have the next month.
Because you can't not have enough.
Yeah, exactly. Right, and if you have too much, then you just got a bunch of.
It's one thing to have a little bit, but if you have thousands,
right? So, and we have a fairly successful. We have a pop-up pack is our little side, and it's basically where we sell all of our extra stock and also like other genres. We do themes 3 months, like we do, like I think this week is comedy and romance, and we'll do sci-fi, we'll do thriller, we'll do all kinds of different stuff. There's
something about them that I just like anyway, because it's almost like it's Christmas every month. You get something.
It's fun. There's definitely a lot of fun in just being like, okay, something's going to show up. I know it's in an area I enjoy. And when we send Blu-rays, and one thing that we've done, which has I think been the core at this point, is the core of our business, is once one title. We do a lot of studio stuff, but one title every month in the Blu-ray pack is an indie film. It's a film we wouldn't get the rights for, and we just did live screen. and I
Which
know
is
they've been,
great, yeah.
and they've been on your show. We did Brian Avnet Bradley he did Echoes of Fear.
Yeah.
But his last movie, he and Lawrence, his wife, their last movie, Malignant, we just did that this month.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen it. I told him on the show after seeing. I always want to say Stir of Echoes, Echoes of Fear.
Right.
It makes me want to watch his other stuff, which I think is.
Well, I'll send you a copy of Malignant.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's Brad Dourif.
Oh
it's
with,
cool.
when he's like the doctor.
The doctor with it's cool.
Yeah.
So.
And Brad Dourif's awesome.
Yeah.
And Mad Doctors are cool. But yeah, it's cool that you do the special editions.
Yeah.
I think that's good for everybody. It's good for obviously for the filmmakers, and it's good if you're getting it, and it's good for you guys.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And I author most of the Blu-rays. So, but it's just it's when Diego and I sat down 4 years ago and changed to decide what we were doing.
Yeah.
The Morningside Blu-ray the Morningside DVD had not done very well, and we lost money somehow just from printing costs and the traditional distributor story, and I was like, there's no way that we shouldn't be able to get filmmakers some money for for their film if we do this right, and in about a year, we'll say maybe a year and a half into it, we were able to do our first one. Actually, we had enough subscribers to actually be able to afford to do one and pay the filmmaker. And writing that check was the best. I was like, oh, this is what I wanted to do, is to write a check to a filmmaker, and we do it every month now.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's cool. Like for a lot of horror fans, maybe they just think of the bigger horror movies, and then they get something that they might not have bought normally. Yeah. And they discover something that they might not have seen.
We have people who have multi-thousand title collections who write us and say, I can't believe you find movies that I don't have. It's like, well, we're the only place to get them in that format in some ways, So
and then the specials are cool because I'm a big fan of specials on the Blu-ray.
The
commentary tracks.
Well, and we encourage all the filmmakers to include a commentary. if they can.
I'm a huge fan of commentary track.
I am too. Yeah, honestly, that was basically my film school, was just listening to a bunch of.
That's
commentaries.
interesting. That's what Michael told me.
Yeah.
That Michael Epstein people.
Yeah.
That they learned how to do a lot of stuff from listening to commentary tracks.
Absolutely. When I started out in making shorts, I was, DVDs were very popular, had exploded, early 2000s, and I was listening all the time. I don't have as much time to do that anymore, right? But at the time, like that's literally how I learned how to do a lot of this.
And there's certain people, I shouldn't say this, but like Herschel Gordon Lewis, there's actually movies that I really don't care about watching. That I got just so I can listen to his commentary track. Yeah.
Nice.
Now I love his horror stuff.
Yeah.
But like some of his other stuff, I'm not into like a lesbian biker movie. But I was like, I kind of want to hear what he has to say about it.
Right. Yeah.
And he's got that voice and
sure.
Yeah. And he could, after you listen to him, you would think whatever it is like the Godfather of movies or something, but it might not be. But he really sold it for you.
Right on. Yeah. He's interesting character.
He was. Yeah. He's a very cool guy. So where does the movie go after Buffalo?
So next week, today is August 29th. Next week we'll be in Austin for Austin Revolution. It'll screen on September 5th on Thursday. So actually 1 week from today. And then that's our last, we've done a really nice, had a year-long festival run. Yeah. We've played 8 or 10 festivals, I think. Very nice for a feature, because programming features is such a competition.
Yeah, and it seems like the shorts have really blown up over the years at the festivals.
Right. Yeah. I think it's easy. Well, it's easier to get more filmmakers. To come if you can program more things. So if you want your festival to grow, it's a really good way to grow. Yeah. So ARF will be the last one. Austin Revolution will be the last one, and then we'll go to distribution and probably be out. I'm guessing we'll be out in March, something like that. Yeah.
I noticed too the shorts lately. Not only is there more shorts, but the length of them are all over the place. It used to be like there would always be under 10 minutes or maybe 15. But now some of them are 30 and 40, and it seems like there's no real. Not that it really matters, but it's odd.
It's generally. So I think most festival directors would tell you, if you're under 10 minutes, you have a better chance of being perfect. Right. Like, just because they can do more with that.
Yeah.
I made a 30-minute short, and we played like maybe 5 festivals.
Right.
And it's hard for them to program that because that's if they got a 90-minute block. That's a third of it, right? So, but you're right. Like I've seen at least. I mean, the international block had at least 3 that were 15 minutes or more, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
one of them was 50 minutes, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, wow, yeah.
Or one of the weekend ones.
Right on.
Was, yeah.
And the one I saw yesterday had like probably 10 or 11 shorts, but 3 of them were long.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember. There. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I've been here 7 days, so you
got a lot of I just got here yesterday morning, so I'm like, I got 1 day's worth of movies, you know. I think though, there's definitely some value to tell your story at the right.
Yeah, that's what I always say in the show.
There's a lot of value to that, but also, you know, it depends on what if your goal is to play a lot of festivals, then strategy can also be important, you know.
Well, it's interesting, even because I always ask people what their goal is with making shorts. Because usually you think if you make a short, your idea is you want to show people what you can do.
Right, so you can make a feature.
Right, because you're not going to sell like a 5-minute short, really.
Right.
So then if you do make like a 35 or 45, you know, what is your goal with that?
Right, it's a little unusual. I think, I mean, so one thing that you can do now is, of course, you can put it on Amazon, and they'll pay you by the minute. I think it's a minute watched, so a 30-minute short could have some value there.
Yeah.
There are some more outlets now, Shudder, you know, Alter, which is the horror. I think Gunpowder and Sky have their horror channel. There are a few places that will put shorts and pay, you know, as people watch them. Probably not. You're probably never going to make back a significant amount of money, but
at least it's out there.
But it's out there, yeah. Anthologies is the other. Other way you make money is if you know, and so sometimes you can, like, I think there's one today, The Last Ride, that it's 3 movies, right? It's three 30-minute or 25-minute shorts, basically. So that's one place where a longer one would play well. Is in a like an anthology of just, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I agree. It's not a it's definitely more complicated if you make a longer short, like to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know?
How important are the festivals for an independent filmmaker?
I think the festivals do 2 things, at least for me. Let me just speak from my perspective. So they get more people aware of the movie, which is, you know, I mean, you know, Greg posts constantly, you know, all the festival directors do.
It's kind of 2 things there. It's people actually come, and even if you're not here, you do see it around.
Right.
You know, people talking about it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's the first thing, is making sure, you know, like just raising awareness, which ultimately your goal is to as many people to know, particularly for a feature, if you want to distribute it and have people buy it, which is, you know, how you pay back your investors, right? You want as many people as possible to know about it. The awards help sometimes on the box.
Okay. How about even the laurels themselves?
Yeah, the laurels, exactly. Well, all of that. Sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
I understand.
It's all one big thing. Yeah. But they do help if it. You know, for some people look for that. You know, it's a right or wrong, it's a sign of quality to some degree, right?
Hey, this one, you know, whatever. Yeah. So it must be something. Yeah.
So that helps. And then the other thing I get out of it is just a chance to, like, you know, meet people who, like, you and I, we met the first time here, but we've known each other online for a long time.
Yeah.
So
maybe with Michael and Sophia.
Right, yeah, and Michael and Sophia
something with them
are good friends of both of ours.
Yeah.
And you know, and you've made
I've noticed that everyone knows Michael and Sophia.
Yeah, they are, well, they're such like wonderful people.
They are, and genuinely people.
You're right, exactly, and interesting filmmakers. They do not make, like, I think I tend to have a mainstream bent with my work. Yeah, they make stuff that is uniquely them.
I agree. Yeah,
and it's good, and it's you know, but and I don't mean that in like
right. I know it's
like they make really
I watch
good stuff,
a lot of stuff that might not be.
It's just it's really funny. I was at the premiere of Clickbait in Genre Blast last year.
Yeah,
and Michael has said, he's like, yeah, we tried to make a mainstream movie and we failed. And it was really funny. So, but yeah, there's great people. There's great people. And
I was a big fan of Clickbait.
Yeah. Oh, Clickbait's it's fantastic. Yeah. Go see Clickbait whenever it comes out.
Yeah, definitely.
I think they're still waiting to find out when that's gonna. No, it came out. No, it did. Yeah, it came out on VD. You're right. Yeah, go check out Clickbait. It's awesome.
Yeah, and rate it.
What's that?
And rate it.
Yes, and rate it. Yes.
How important is that actually to give?
It's the system's rigged, right? The
Yeah.
system's rigged. It's really important. If you and I've even heard rate it 9s, like if you're on IMDb,
I heard
rate it
from
9s because
yeah.
they drop the 10s and the 1s.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, rate it on Amazon, rate it on IMDb, because it's just important. It's important to you won't get seen. And sometimes you won't even get, your distributors will look at your numbers and say, "Nah, I'm not going to pick you up." If you know, and there's a lot of unfortunate, like it's the internet. There's a lot of people that will go on and just post negative, like one stars. And, I mean, we've seen this all the time. Or 1-star.
It's really weird because it's people on the internet. It's either like the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life, or it's like you've wasted every moment of
right, exactly.
Like, there's a middle ground, you could it was pretty good or it wasn't so great.
Yeah.
It's not like I ruined my whole life watching this movie.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many Amazon reviews I've seen where it's like this movie was not as good as the $70 million film I saw the day before.
Right, yeah.
The production values were very low. Yes, they were. Yeah. It's maybe not the same scale. Maybe we judge that a little differently.
Yeah.
So
keep that in mind when you're watching it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, do you plan? I assume you plan to put this out like on a DVD, video on demand, Blu-ray.
Yeah. Hopefully in March. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still sorting out where we're gonna land for distribution.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Anything else you're working on?
I am attached to a dramatic action film.
Okay.
We're working on getting funding for that right now, which is of course the age-old story, right? But it's cool. It's a high-concept action film written by a friend of mine, and I think I'm gonna hold off on naming him because we're gonna make an announcement at some point.
Okay.
But it's not Michael or Stacy. It's another friend who's done some interesting things, and it's a really neat. It's a high-concept action film with a pretty strong dramatic through line.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like the script.
Maybe it'll get nominated for Best Horror next year here.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching your other stuff that I've not seen.
So yeah, I'll send you more.
All right. Cool. Well, I appreciate this, and it's cool to meet you in person.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Fantastic. Thanks.
And I'm sure we'll meet again.
Yes.